Hey everyone, it's been a while since the last video, and as I had put a build out midweek and didn't follow up with a video, it was due to kind of just recap some of the features that were added to version 1.0.3.6. So I'll go over those features real quick, and then I'll give you a sneak peek into something that's been taking up a great deal of my time over the past month or so. All right, so we'll hop into the current build that I had shared on the forum. Yeah, 1036, and we'll start off in this theme. And the reason I'm starting off in this test theme, which I'd actually included with the build, was due to, let me see if I can remember, this one. So this particular view, I had included some images. So for those of you that are new to constructing themes, I thought it might be extremely beneficial if I actually supplied some of the images here for the stars and play mode and genre and ESRB, just so that you can familiarize yourself with how all this kind of works. And then obviously you can create your own artwork or grab some artwork that you can replace these with, and then just see how it reacts. But anyway, I thought I'd include that. And again, this test theme is more of a sandbox. It just really kind of demonstrates how you can easily kind of tie these UI elements together and come up with something fairly quickly. All right, so let me just hop back out. So some of the features that I had added to this build, there were a slew of fixes that I had made, and some of which were reported by some users on the forum. Some code generation issues that were holding them up from building and publishing their theme. So I thought it was only fair that I address those quickly and get this build out as soon as possible, so that I wouldn't delay them any further. So I won't go into the fixes. Some of them are kind of in the background, like I said, in the code generation side of things when you're actually publishing a theme. So besides, I kind of noted those in the what's changed section on the forum. So let's go into the new stuff. So what you may have noticed right away is that the whole visual styling for the creator now has changed. Gone are the typical windows, buttons, text boxes and drop-down combos, and I've applied my own styling. Now obviously these are subject to change, but I'm kind of liking what I've got so far. So let's see, I'll go into settings. So here we have some input boxes or text boxes. And from this settings window, I have added, what did I add? I added Launchbox, Discord, and Patreon. So I've added these three. So if you wish to add your handle, your nickname, or a link to your page, if you will, then you can do so in here, your channel, and that was a user request. Let's see. I have added, or at least when you're in the editor itself, this video now of either the platform or the selected game, either or. Any videos that play now, they play on a loop. In the previous build, it would play once and then basically black screen. and you know, that was just a stopgap. I was trying to figure out how I could get that to work. Anyway, I got it to work. So these videos are now on a loop, which is great, and they're in a loop even when you're in the editor itself and you're moving this around or you're resizing it. It just will continue to play. Now, what I have added, I don't know if you notice here, but in the bottom left of the view itself, in fact, let me switch to this. It's more easily visible now. So in the bottom left of the view, you see the speaker icon. By default, it's on when you launch the app. You just click, and the audio will now be enabled, at least while you're in this screen. As soon as you go into edit, I mute the video. I mute the audio because I figured that might be too distracting. And then as soon as you either save or discard and you return, your audio settings will go back to however you had them set. And it's not, how can I say this? It's only controlling that particular video. Okay, so if you're, I don't know, playing YouTube on your computer and you're listening to music, that will continue to be playing just fine, and the audio coming from that is just fine. It's completely unaffected. This audio mute on off is purely controlling the selected video that you have up in your view. Okay, so I figured, you know, if you're testing or you're kind of sitting back and you're just looking at your view, sometimes adding the audio kind of adds to the experience, so I wanted to add that option. Now, with that said, with video, I have added, let's see, I have added 3 new user interface elements. I just need to find one that's good. I'll tell you what, I'll go into pyramids, and here we have a background video. Okay, and so if I click background, and you know, depending on what you're trying to achieve here, you may want a background video that that you want the audio to come through, or not, and you can control that through this switch here, where you can mute the video or not. This was something that wasn't possible on the previous build. I was using the what was I using? I was using the video playback from BigBox, and I wasn't able to mute the audio. So anyway, I've built my own video control, purely used for when you're in the creator, and if you've decided to use either user-defined videos, which I'll get to in a second, or background videos. And of course, if you haven't created the videos yourself and you're grabbing them off the web, more often than not, those videos are going to contain audio, which you don't want to play while potentially another video is playing audio and the audio is clashing. So at least this way it gives you the opportunity to mute that particular video's audio stream. So anyway, that's the background video and some of the changes that have been made there. And as I alluded to, you've got the ability now to add user-defined videos in addition to the standard selected item video, which would either be the selected video for platform if you're in a platform view, or the selected video for a game if you're in a game view. Okay, So let's go to a game with a video, preferably. With no background video. Okay, all right. Let's just put it on a different platform. Just get some different videos coming in here. All right, and I'll mute the audio here. So I'll come in, and like I said, new user interface element here, and here it is here, user-defined video. Okay, so it's added the frame, and then from here, same as usual, I'm going to select video, pyramids, and there you go. All right, so that's how you define or add another video to your view. And by default, the mute audio switch is set to on, so the audio will not be broadcast. This particular video doesn't have audio anyway, but I'm just letting you know, by default, the audio for that user-defined video will not be enabled. And again, I can copy, and I can paste, and I can keep pasting. So, you know, all depends on what you want to do. Okay, so that's user-defined video. And let's see. While we're in here, another one that was another request here was, let's see, notes. Notes, or in this case, game description, was only really available if you select scroll text or scroller, and then select notes. But it was requested that let me just increase the font size. It was requested that non-scrollable notes be available. And again, you've got complete control. You can wrap. You can align the text. And actually, let me come out of pyramids. As much as I like it, it's kind of busy for what I want to do. So yeah, so like I said, if I just select notes and let's just increase the font size a little bit. And then make it wrap. So if you want to do something like that, again, it all depends on what look and feel you're aiming for. But anyway, I've made that available, so you don't have to use a scroller to achieve this. Let's see. And game marquee was another UI element that was requested. I'm not sure if I've got any images associated with that, but I'll give it a shot. Probably not for this particular game, so I'll leave this image up on this view and switch to there you go. So I'm going to leave the image to uniform. But again, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve here. So that was game marquee. And I haven't scraped all my ROMs on my desktop to get the marquee images, so my apologies. But for the ones that I did scrape kind of back in the day, obviously with Arcade, then they're popping up in here. I think, let me, I'm just curious to see if I have any other systems that utilize that. I'm just randomly picking on systems. Probably not. Probably only did it for Arcade. Yeah. Yeah, it's highly unlikely. Yeah, it's just a collection of stuff. I think I just did it for Arcade. Anyway, so that's game marquee. I'll just get rid of that. Let me see. I know there were a couple of other sneaky things I had put in. Let's go back to this one where I've got notes before I delete it. As you can see, you know, I have a boundary. I cannot move a UI element off screen, okay, no matter what. Either move or kind of resize. I'm hitting the borders there, okay, the screen borders. But what I've done down in the bottom left of the UI properties panel is a canvas lock, and by default it's enabled. By switching that off, you can now move an object off screen, or at least partially off screen, as much as you know, the mouse pointer will let you. But you know, that might be necessary if you're doing some kind of object rotation and you just need to move it partially off screen due to the rotation, you know, in order to get it as close as you can to the edge, but in order to get it close to an edge, it has to be partially off screen. So I've allowed that ability by using canvas lock. And then once you've placed the object, even if it's partially off screen, that's fine. You can enable canvas lock. It will not snap the objects back into the frame. They'll remain as is. All right. So that was a sneaky little one that I had popped in. Let me save that because I didn't want the static notes to be on that view. What else I had done? Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. Like I said, there were a lot of behind the scenes code changes or fixes that I had put in. Let's see. Some just subtle changes I had put in. So, for example, let me go to a text list view, for example. Let's go to this one, and I'll move the properties here, and then I'll click on the text list itself, and then wherever you have either styling or user source, if you're embedding your own XAML, I've changed this up a little bit, made it a little bit more user-friendly, I should say. So these presets, obviously they're preset with the application, and obviously I plan to build more, but these presets you can't edit, and hence that's why you can't delete, and that's why you can only browse the code. Okay, so if I like this preset, but maybe there's some attributes I wish to change, I can hit browse, I can hit all, Control A, and then Control C to copy. Okay, and then what I can do, I can say new, and it wants to know what the new file name is, and I can say, you know, test. I hit OK, Control V, and then I can go in and obviously I can, you know, change the colors up, you know, to my heart's content. You know, maybe I want pink, I don't know. All right, so as you can see, we've got a pink shadow. I mean, just to prove that it's a different style. And now this is available along with the presets. And because this is not a preset, you can edit and obviously save, and you can also hit delete. So you can delete, and now we're back to the 3 and only available presets for a given style. Okay, so again, I've made it, you know, a little bit more user-friendly. It wasn't so much in the prior build, and like I said, the same is true if you're defining your own user source. It's exactly the same layout. All right. So I think that kind of concludes the more noticeable or more notable kind of features that I've added to 1.0.3.6. And what I'll do now is I'll give you a little glimpse into what I'm currently working on and what I have been working on for about 4 or 5 weeks now. And it's only been the past couple of weekends that I've actually seen the fruits of my labor. So if I go into the new build, and I'll go into a test theme that I'm using to test out these new features. Let's select a different platform just so I get some different artwork coming up here. Anything in particular? Don't suppose it really matters. Let's put this on. Actually, that's not a bad contrast, so I'll keep it on this one. And yeah, so I'll go into edit and I'll move this over here, and I'll just expand all these groups. So it's real basic stuff. Background, I've got a rectangle which I'm using as a gradient from the right to the left being transparent, the right being dark, just to create an effect where the color underneath the wheel, the vertical wheel, you know, the vertical wheel will stand out against whatever background is kind of presented. So yeah, so that's what I was up to on that one. So this is rectangle. Oh, and I've added a full screen property to rectangle. That way, whenever you're clicking around on objects, the rectangle isn't always being focused. You can just say, well, in this case, the whole rectangle is taking up the entire screen, so I might as well just set it to full screen. And because I've got it set to full screen, the X, Y, width, height, angle, skew, and all this kind of stuff is obscured. All right. So now I can freely click on any UI element I want without the rectangle grabbing the focus. All right. So there's not much to this. All right. I've got the selected item video. I've applied an opacity mask to the video. So all I've done here is basically made the video round. Okay. And then I've used that same image that made the video circular. I've applied that underneath the video and made it like a transparent dark object, so that when you're switching between games, you don't see a hole in the screen. It's just nicely darkened, but you can still see the fan art through the circle as the video is loading up. Okay. And then the video border is, I didn't create this, I just found it out there on Google. I thought it was kind of neat, and it will serve its purpose in a second. So you know, somewhat of a almost perfect circle. You'll see in a second that it isn't, but it's pretty darn close, but good enough for testing. And you know, kind of a, you know, cool effect, somewhat of a, you know, holographic HUD, if you will. Then if I scroll down, here's some new properties. The point of origin has been out there for a while. It was always the intention to define animations for a given UI element and have them presented in this pane. Okay. So that's what we're going to do here. So I have no animations defined for these triggers, and I'll explain those in a second. But I'm going to go into immediately, which means that when a view pops up, and in this case I'm working with the, you know, what I'm deeming a video border image, as soon as that image is available, as soon as it's loaded, as soon as the image itself is populated, it's going to activate the animation associated with it. Well, right now there isn't anything defined, so we're going to go ahead and define something real quick. Okay, so we don't have anything. It's wanting me to make a selection. I'm going to do a rotate, and I can just keep chaining instructions together, but I'm just going to stick with one for now. Trust me, you can add multiple, but I'm just going to stick with a simple rotation. I want to do rotate 180 degrees, and it's going to take 6 seconds to complete that rotation, and I want to use this easing function with this easing mode, and you can do auto reverse and repeat here for this particular instruction, or you can do it for the whole strip, and I'll do it there. So here I've enabled repeat and auto reverse at this level. So if I had actually chained multiple animation instructions together, I'm just simply saying at this point, well, when I get to the very end, because I've got auto reverse on, it will work backwards and then repeat, and then it will go forwards again, and then backwards, and then forwards, and then backwards, and so on and so forth. But you have the ability at this level to actually auto reverse and repeat. Okay, so I've got it defined at both levels. So as I've been talking, I haven't been watching the animation going. So as you can see, this image is now rotating 180 degrees, and I'm using the easing function, but more importantly the easing mode in and out. So it has this slow down effect as it's getting to its destination, and then speed up and then slow down. And because I've got auto reverse on, it has speed up and slow down in both directions. So it's kind of a cool effect. Obviously I didn't design that. You can thank Microsoft for that. That had nothing to do with me, but I'm taking advantage of these easing functions and easing modes. So one I was playing around with earlier was this elastic ease. I thought that was kind of neat. So I'll keep it on elastic ease, hit OK. It's kind of wild. I haven't really played around with these at all until very early this morning when I had this functionality up and running. So there were only a couple that I was aware of, and that's only because I had copied that code from somebody else's theme that had done some animation, and because it worked for them, I figured, I'll just play with it. But yeah, it's certainly fun to go in and have a play to see what these things do for sure. And I've copied the notes from the Microsoft site that explain, how the easing functions, easing functions and easing modes, what the descriptive text is. I thought that might be informative. So here's this bounce. I thought that was kind of cool. All right. So again, in the animation, you get a preview of what actions or animations you're actually performing based on a given trigger. And like I said, I wanted this one to run as soon as the view is available, as soon as the image, the holographic image is loaded. I want the animation to play immediately and keep playing forever. All right. So what else was there to show here? Oh yeah. So let's see. I've got and up here in your UI elements list, as you can see, there's a very kind of subtle A in the top left of this UI element. That's indicating that there is actually an animation, at least one animation defined for this UI element. So I figured that might make it a lot easier for you guys. If you're scrolling down through all your list of UI elements, you can see right off the bat which ones have animations, which ones don't. Okay, so there you go. That's your little clue right there. Now, what I'm going to do is you can either do it from here or from the screen. It really doesn't make any difference. So with what was it, the video border, from here, copy, I'm going to paste. So it's copied the image, pasted the image. This is nothing new. That functionality has been available for the longest time. But it's copying the animation attributes along with them. Obviously that's new. The fact that it's copying all this stuff and pasting them, that in itself is not new, but it's certainly fun to see all this stuff, all this extra stuff being copied and pasted. Now, what I can do with this third image, and again up here you can see the three that are tagged with a letter A to say that they've got animations. I'm going to go into this one, I'm going to alter it, and I want to do a full rotation, a little bit quicker. I don't want any easing functions whatsoever. Okay, and I don't want auto reverse on this one. All right, I just want a smooth rotation, 360 degrees. So this will just keep rotating clockwise. Okay, and if you want, you can. Well, I'll do that in a second. So I can now copy this, and then click on this one, paste properties, and select paste animate. So now it's taken all the animation attributes from the one I copied from and have applied it to the target. So you've got some, and again, that functionality isn't new in itself, but it's certainly interesting to see all these things working, as especially for me as I'm adding on to existing functionality, and the old stuff is taking advantage of that. So it's pretty cool to see. Let me see. Well, maybe I don't want it to go in that direction, and that's fine. I'll just simply make it -360, and there you go. And then I'll hit save. Okay. And then I'll hit publish. And then let's see, I'll come out of here. I'll go to BigBox. All right, we're in. So what was I in? I was in Windows. And there you go. So it was a kind of a cool effect. And it really didn't take me that long. And again, I just grabbed whatever images I could find via Google and simply utilized them just to demonstrate, easily demonstrate what these animation features can do for you. So yeah, it's been a real interesting couple of weeks, and very interesting for the past couple of hours, or at least a couple of hours last night, as I could see it unfolding, and it was all coming together quite nicely. So but yeah, that's it. So animation is truly working. The source generation now creates storyboarding, as it's called in XAML. Rotation is the only animation that's currently working. I still have work to do. I still have. I was having a discussion with a good friend of mine, Rincewind, this morning, that we can enhance, the animation editor. So I'm going to make it a lot more flexible. I've got it fixed on 3 different triggers. I'm going to open that up so that you can have as many animations you want per trigger, and then. But I've got, in order to do that, I've got to rejig how the animation editor looks. But the good news is the framework is there. It's the foundation for all this stuff is there. The editor's there. The presentation side of things are there. Maintaining the properties for various animation actions is there, and the code generation at least is there. It's in place, and it seems pretty darn stable at this point. So which isn't too bad, because I only just started on the code generation late last night. But yeah, so there you go. The framework is certainly there. I just need to tweak and expand on it, and I'll get that as soon as I feel confident that that side of things is error-free. Then I will release that particular build with animation included, which means there's only one final feature remaining after animation, and that is containers, grids, stack panel, dock panel, borders. And the reason I'm talking about it now is that it really kind of piggybacks, or it's almost chicken and egg in a way, but if you can visualize a container and the container has a whole slew of other UI elements, be it notes, be it play mode, be it user rating, community rating, you know, a container like a grid or a frame or a border that would contain all this information. Now what you can do is you can attach an animation to that container, and you can say, you know, when the view pops up, I want that container to move in from the edge of the screen, and I want it to move to the location that I've told it where I want it placed, you know, via the editor. Likewise, you may want it to move off screen after a period of time, and that's totally cool. You can do that. The last thing you want to do is you don't want to visit all those individual UI elements, play mode, genre, user rating, ESRB, star rating, all of those, and attach exactly the same animations to it. If you can do it to a parent, attach it to one, and that parent owns all the other UI elements. That is the more efficient way to go. And from a maintenance perspective, it's a lot easier for you to add and remove and change within a parent container than it is to individually kind of affect, you know, God knows how many UI elements. But anyway, that is the next and last feature after animation, and you know, I expect to see some really cool stuff when that feature is available, for sure, because it really opens up a whole slew of possibilities there. But anyway, I hope you like some of the features that I've included on the current build, 1.0.3.6, and I hope you're liking what you're seeing as far as how the animation editor is kind of playing out. I've tried to make it as simple and easy to use as possible. I personally think I've achieved it, but we'll see. It's not in your hands yet, so I'll be certainly interested to see obviously what your feedback is when you do get it, and obviously what you can do with it when you're building your themes. All right, so until then, I will sign off for now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this off before year end. I will try my best. I know the progress I've made over the past couple of weekends has been pretty amazing, so if I'm able to keep up that momentum, I should be able to finish by year end. So fingers crossed on that one. All right, so until the next video, or until the next build, whichever comes first, take care, and I'll catch up with you fairly soon.